Tonight, the Conservative Party breakthrough in a Toronto by-election raises a new question. Are any Liberal seats safe?
Once people have a negative view of you, it's very hard to change their mind.
Will it put heat on Justin Trudeau to step aside? Chaos in the streets of Kenya. Protesters met by a deadly response.
Young Kenyans are demonstrating for their rights.
And new rules are now in effect on how some of your profits will be taxed.
Which politician, if any, is telling the truth?
Andrew Chang looks at the political fight over your money.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. We are starting with a big political shakeup delivered by voters in a Toronto by-election. The polls said it would be close. The counting lasted into the wee hours, and the result, well, to say it sent a message would be an understatement. For more than 30 years, the wealthy urban riding of St. Paul's was solidly red, no matter the government of the day, a Liberal rock. But with Conservative Don Stewart's win, the rock hasn't just cracked, it's crumbled. As the dust settles, there's an open question. Is there any Liberal stronghold the Conservatives cannot conquer? And Ashley Burke tells us that's raised other questions among Liberals about what it would take to change the party's fortunes.
Don Stewart felt the momentum, addressing supporters even before the votes had flipped in his favor.
I don't think this is the speech anybody thought I'd be making tonight. I didn't think so. I don't think our opponents thought so.
The Conservatives pulling off a stunning win, turning Toronto St. Paul's blue for the first time in more than 30 years and breaking through the red Liberal fortress in urban Toronto. Voters sending a strong message to that party and its leader.
People, generally speaking, are tired of the Trudeau administration.
It's time for a change in Canada.
I think it could be a sign of what's to come.
The Prime Minister says he hears people's concerns.
This was obviously not the result we wanted,
but didn't signal he's considering stepping aside despite voters' frustrations.
It's clear that I and my entire Liberal team have much more work to do to deliver tangible, real progress.
But some say this by-election confirms what the polls have shown for months, that the Liberals are in deep trouble, and it's because of Justin Trudeau.
I think voters have decided how they feel about the Prime Minister, and once people have a negative view of you, of anything, it's very hard to change their minds, especially if the person they don't really like is the one trying to convince them otherwise.
Publicly, members of his caucus are standing behind him.
The Prime Minister is committed to leading us into the next election, and he has our support.
Nice to meet you both.
This Toronto area MP says Trudeau will need to decide on his next steps.
He'll have to reevaluate and look at the results of last night's by-election and do some reflecting, but that's up to him.
But privately, there's a different tone. Some Liberal MPs tell CBC News it's time for major change in the party and even new leadership. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
All right, so let's bring in Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton. So, Rosie, the polls showed this by-election would be a challenge for the Liberals, but I don't think like this.
No, for sure not, Adrian. It's not just that the Conservatives won last night, it's that even the Conservatives didn't think they were going to win. And that seems to suggest there's something bigger happening on the political landscape than even the parties can evaluate. And the reason this cuts so deep for the Liberals is because this is no longer about terrible polls, which they've been dealing with. This is about a terrible result coming directly from voters in a place where Liberals win. These voters want to change. And the question is, after 9 years in office, can this government offer anything to convince Canadians to stick with them?
So you and I spoke last night about the stakes for the Prime Minister. What are you hearing today?
Listen, our Bureau talked to many different Liberal MPs on background today, and the views really run the gamut from disappointment to we need some big change to it's time for the Prime Minister to leave. There isn't, however, any real sense of urgency here from caucus, at least at this stage, that we can detect. And certainly those around the Prime Minister are saying no one needs to be in panic mode. The next election is 16 months away. Many things could happen between now and then, a lower interest rate, better economy, an American election. What's not clear today is whether MPs, Liberal MPs, will just wait and hope for things to improve under the same leader.
All right, Rosie Barton, thank you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Statistics Canada has released the latest inflation numbers, and they're not heading in the direction Canadians want. The annual inflation rate increased in May to 2.9%. That is up from 2.7% in April. Nisha Patel now on what's behind the increase and how it could affect the Bank of Canada's next interest rate decision.
These Toronto high-rises are filled with renters whose bills keep going up.
I would prefer a studio apartment, but the prices are out of my range.
I'm kind of trapped in between a rock and a hard place because I don't even have enough of a disposable income to save for the next deposit.
Average rent across Canada climbed by nearly 9% over the last year. Travel tours and plane tickets also cost more, while grocery prices continued to take a bite out of budgets, climbing 1.5% from last year.
Being single and everything like that, I try to make my groceries last a little longer.
The thing is, I run out of money, so I gotta live on credit. And, it's very hard.
It all helped drive overall inflation in May up to 2.9%, reversing the downward trend of the past 4 months. The numbers came as a surprise.
We saw kind of an inching up across a lot of categories here that Statistics Canada tracks on inflation. So that's not really great news.
It's a setback for the Bank of Canada, which is trying to bring inflation back down to its 2% target.
If it takes longer than expected, we're going to see the bank hold off on lowering rates and, more pain to come.
The central bank started cutting interest rates earlier this month, confident that inflation was moving in the right direction. Still, Governor Tiff Macklem has warned progress may be slow.
We're going to be looking at the data that's coming out. We're going to be assessing what that means for the future path of inflation, and that really will determine what we do with interest rates.
So there's no guarantee of another interest rate cut in July, as the road to lower inflation proves to be a little more rocky. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
New rules raising the amount of capital gains that can be taxed come into effect today. So when you sell assets like real estate or stocks for more than the original price, 50% of that profit or capital gain gets taxed as income. But now, for gains over $250,000, 66% will be subject to taxation. The change has sparked confusion and controversy. Later in the show, we break down the facts. Well, turning now to a dangerous wildfire on the move near Churchill Falls in Labrador. The fire has jumped the Churchill River and is now just a few kilometers away from the town. The entire community has been evacuated. Peter Cowan now on the growing threat and new fears about a critical infrastructure.
This is what people were dreading to see, and for more than a week, fire crews have battled to prevent it.
Unfortunately, we've just got word that the fire has jumped the river.
The mighty Churchill River, which for weeks has helped protect the town, simply not big enough to stop this fire. Hot temperatures, southwest winds, and low humidity turbocharged the fire, forcing the remaining essential workers to leave. Like many other evacuees, they're now in Happy Valley Goose Bay, 3 hours away.
It wasn't easy because it is my home. I was born and raised there, but hopefully it'll burn itself out and Mother Nature won't be angry with us, and we'll be able to go back one day.
Churchill Falls is a company town serving the massive hydro plant that supplies Labrador and parts of Quebec. When it was built in the 1960s, no one envisioned operating it remotely. But that's what crews have to do now from the safety of other towns.
Certainly not ideal. It hasn't been done before, but that is what we're hoping that we should be able to do with implementation of this remote monitoring and very little remote operation ability.
Already there's a problem. Fires around the transmission line to Western Labrador caused the lines to trip, knocking out power. Stores and restaurants shut down, and there were long lines at the only working gas station. With warnings that this outage could be prolonged, people are doing what they can to prepare. Fire crews are hoping for some help on Wednesday.
We certainly are looking forward to the rain tomorrow. That is definitely going to give us a chance to, we're going to regroup. We'll get up tomorrow morning and the guys will start all over again.
Doing what they can to keep a town safe and the power on. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, police announced more than 100 arrests in the Toronto area after recovering nearly 200 stolen vehicles and millions in cash. But Jamie Strachan shows us why breaking Canada's fever of auto theft may mean going beyond busting thieves to protecting ports.
Vehicle crime is a complex issue.
Another auto theft ring busted in another police operation, this one dubbed Project Titanium, just the latest targeting the staggering surge of auto theft, most occurring in the Greater Toronto area.
What is alarming about this investigation is that the vehicle thefts were not simply carried out in the middle of the night on an unoccupied target vehicle. Many of the thefts involved violence.
Last year in Toronto, 12,000 vehicles were stolen, one every 40 minutes. Last month in Peel region north of Toronto, an average of 18 cars a day were stolen. They are rarely recovered. And most of the arrests involve those stealing the cars, not those working behind the scenes.
Organized crime are still profiting from this in a significant way.
In Brampton, Ontario, where car theft is endemic, Mayor Patrick Brown is calling for a different approach.
It's 100% solvable. In the U.S., they know how to chew gum and walk at the same time.
Brown recently visited the port of Newark in New Jersey, where scanners are extensively used to see what is actually inside many of the containers leaving the country.
It's almost like an X-ray machine where they measure density in a shipping container. And so if the shipping container is labeled as household goods, and clearly there's cars in there, that shipping container is going to be flagged.
Brown says Canadian ports need more scanners, especially Montreal's. That's where a majority of stolen cars from Ontario and Quebec leave the country.
Until we fix the structural problems in Canada that makes it so easy to export cars, they're not going to win this battle.
The federal government recently committed millions to combating auto theft, including money for scanners, an attempt to undermine the crime by making it harder to smuggle stolen cars and profit from them. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Anger over Kenya's rising cost of living turned deadly today. Protesters who stormed the country's parliament were met with force. Thomas Degg looks at the response from police and the president.
Taking their anger to the heart of Kenya's government, protesters rushed in, ransacking the parliament building and pushing into the chamber. This man even taking the speaker's chair to address lawmakers who'd fled the room.
We don't fear you guys. You hypocrites.
Demonstrations swelled and spread to towns across Kenya. At issue, a contentious government bill that would raise taxes at a time when many are struggling with a high cost of living.
We are rejecting everything, withdraw it.
We want the finance bill to be scrapped in totality.
With smoke billowing from the parliament building, police moved in, firing tear gas at demonstrators, including the Kenyan half-sister of former U.S. President Barack Obama.
Young Kenyans are demonstrating for their rights. They're demonstrating with flags and banners. I can't even see anymore.
Security forces were seen opening fire using live ammunition, with protesters killed, their bodies taken away. President William Ruto blamed the violence on criminals.
We shall provide a full, effective, and expeditious response to today's treasonous events.
Crucially, Ruto is still set to sign that controversial finance bill into law, even as anger boils over among Kenya's Generation Z, says this politics watcher.
It's a misreading of really the temperatures, the way they're rising, and the frustration and the pain that people are experiencing every day.
Police are about to get help from Kenyan troops deployed to face civilians and stamp out the chaos. Neither side is backing down. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
Ottawa is urging Canadians in Lebanon to get out as the situation there becomes more volatile. For weeks, violence has been escalating between Israel and the militant group Hezbollah. The government warns that should the crisis worsen, Canadians could find themselves unable to leave or access consular services. Well, a dramatic ruling from Israel's Supreme Court today. Ultra-Orthodox Jews are no longer exempt from mandatory military service. This changes decades of religious accommodation and adds a new political problem for a beleaguered prime minister. Margaret Evans is in Jerusalem.
You don't have to look far for tradition in Jerusalem, especially not in the Haredi or ultra-Orthodox neighborhoods. But the exemption from military service that young men studying the Torah have enjoyed for decades has long been a source of contention in Israel. Even more so now, given the war in Gaza.
I think that we're at a time of war, and at a time of war, everyone has to take their part.
Military service is a strong part of Israel's culture, mandatory for most men and women at the age of 18.
I don't think there's an excuse not to be in the Army. I wear kippah, I'm religious, I go to synagogue on Saturday, and all the people that I know go in the Army.
The ruling was widely expected, but it will still be a potential thorn in the side of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He relies on two ultra-Orthodox parties to prop up his government, and he'd promised them a continued exemption from military service that he's now failed to deliver.
There's a demand for more soldiers, for sacrifice from our youngsters, and at the same time, the sectorial ultra-Orthodox parties are demanding full blanket exemption. This is something that is too difficult to digest for the general Israeli public.
Talk to Haredi seminary students, many from the United States, and they'll tell you they're protecting Israel in their own way.
We think it's a horrible law because we believe we got to all learn, got to study, and what we study protects the country more than the army. That's what we believe in.
This ultra-Orthodox rabbi, an educator, says the ruling is humiliating. Studying the Torah has maintained the Jewish people for thousands of years, he says. But the court's decision was unanimous, ruling that in the midst of grueling war, the burden of inequality is harsher and demands a solution. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Jerusalem.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has entered a plea in a deal with the U.S. after a 12-year legal battle. He's now free. Assange formally pleaded guilty to one charge of violating U.S. espionage law at a U.S. court in the Northern Mariana Islands between China and Australia. In exchange, he won't serve prison time in the U.S. In 2010, WikiLeaks released thousands of classified documents, one of the largest security breaches in U.S. history. And in the final months of the U.S. presidential election in 2016, it released Democratic Party emails U.S. prosecutors say were stolen by Russian intelligence. It is time for reflection in Edmonton after a stunning Stanley Cup comeback ended in devastating defeat.
I think there's a lot of those Oilers players that are saying, I really hope that's not my one shot.
What's next for the Oilers and Canada's hopes of bringing home the cup? Plus.
Datsuk in on goal, and he does it again!
A master of deception soon to be immortalized.
The Hockey Hall of Fame is pleased to welcome Pavel Datsuk.
The other big names getting the call. And a special twist on in-flight entertainment. We're back in 2 minutes. Jeremy Roenick's decade-long wait to join Hockey's Hall of Fame is over. The American star is one of 7 new inductees in the 2024 class.
The Hockey Hall of Fame is pleased to welcome Jeremy Roenick as an honored member. Congratulations, Jeremy.
The other big names to be called to the Hall include two-time Stanley Cup champion Pavel Datsuk and Canadian blue liner Shea Weber. Well, led by Canadian Paul Maurice, the longtime NHL coach who finally won the Stanley Cup, the Florida Panthers are still celebrating last night's win over Edmonton. Look at that. From the rink to the beach, Panthers players pretty thrilled after the franchise's first ever championship. Earlier, fans joined players at Fort Lauderdale's Elbow Room Bar, where a lucky few drank from the cup. The team's parade is set for Sunday. So, such a different scene in Edmonton as Oilers fans reflect on what might have been. As Paige Parsons shows us, while there is no joy now, there is reason for hope.
Calgary Stanley Cup champions.
It could have been a historic win. Instead, heartbreak for the Edmonton Oilers.
Sucks.
And their fans.
I was praying for this and then we didn't make it. Like, that's so sad.
The Florida Panthers clinched the Stanley Cup in Game 7 Monday night. After winning the first 3 games of the series, the Panthers collapsed as the Oilers clawed their way back, winning the next 3, raising hopes that the Oilers could bring back the Cup for the first time in 34 years. If, for only one night, they weren't just Edmonton's team, they were Canada's team. It's been 31 years since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. Many hoped the Oilers would end the drought.
I think there's a lot of those Oilers players that are saying, I really hope that's not my one shot at trying to win this thing.
Recent history provides reason for optimism. Florida lost in last year's final. Now they're getting ready for a parade. Despite the sting, Oilers fans remain loyal.
I'm proud of the team and I'm proud of the fans from Canada that came out, traveled all the way to Florida to cheer on their team.
These Winnipeggers wanted a cup for Canada.
It's tough to win a Stanley Cup, and Connor McDavid learned a lesson today, and he's going to come back stronger, and they're going to win the next one. And it's not maybe the Jets will.
Back in Edmonton, many hoped they'd be gearing up for a Stanley Cup parade this week. Instead, they're clearing away the banners and the fanfare. All that's left is hope for next season. Paige Parsons, CBC News, Edmonton.
Canada's men's soccer team has won a match at the Copa America tournament. Jonathan David scoring the winner in the 74th minute as Canada defeated Peru 1-0. They'll face Chile on Saturday for a spot in the next round. This is Canada's first appearance in the tournament. Well, another year has passed, but much of Lytton, BC is still unrecognizable.
It's been 3 years and we're only just starting to rebuild.
Why recovering from that catastrophic wildfire has been so difficult. Plus, its attacks Conservatives call disastrous.
Businesses, jobs, doctors, and food production will leave Canada.
The Liberals say that's a lie.
They're all trying to spin it in 9 different ways.
Who's really paying for the capital gains tax hike? The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. Still amazing, the unmatched vocals of a Canadian icon from the documentary I Am Céline Dion. That is out today on Amazon Prime. It looks at the singer's life and relentless determination since she was diagnosed with stiff person syndrome. I had the chance to sit down with Céline Dion ahead of the film's premiere. You can watch that interview on cbc.ca, CBC Gem, and YouTube. Well, it's been 3 years since wildfires ravaged Lytton, BC, destroying hundreds of homes. Politicians vowed to rebuild, but progress has been slow and challenging. Yvette Bren spoke with people still waiting to return after losing everything.
3 years ago, George Brown watched fire consume his community.
They said, you better get your ass home. He said, it's going towards your place.
Like many, he lost everything and had no insurance.
You know, I just sitting there, I didn't even know where to begin.
Those who lost homes found shelter where they could. Ken Pite has lived in a trailer since the fire.
We were living in a powder keg, and we were only going to get through the day if nobody did anything stupid.
The fire that killed 2 people happened the day after Lytton had the hottest day ever recorded in Canada. More than 1,000 fled, some for good.
The village itself that was burned out, is 7 blocks long. So to lose even one makes a huge impact.
Nobody imagined waiting so long to rebuild.
One thing that's surprising is the slowness and the bureaucracy that has to be waded through.
Other communities destroyed by fire have rebuilt. But here, despite more than $174 million in federal and provincial recovery funds, few are home.
There is no magic wand. People are getting back home on a gradual basis.
Part of the delay is the result of discoveries made after the town burned.
So we knew that we were walking on the bones of our ancestors for the most part.
Lytton is a storied place.
Burned soil was removed, revealing thousands of artifacts. Archaeological screening and tougher building codes upped delays and costs for many.
We were fortunate that we didn't have any artifacts found on our property.
She was insured and got one of the first of only 15 approved permits.
This place will always be Lytton, and it's got a lot of heart, and we're not going away.
Her house, a long-awaited sign of rebirth. Yvette Brand, CBC News, Lytton, BC.
Now let's dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Starting today, the government gets to tax a bigger chunk of capital gains. The Liberals say this will only take from the rich. Conservatives and critics don't buy it.
There's going to be a lot of middle-class people that are going to be affected.
So we break down all the arguments.
This is where I think a lot of misinformation has gone around.
And figure out who will pay more. And here's Andrew Chang, the host of CBC's About That, to make all the numbers make sense.
Gosh, you listen to these two. How are you supposed to know how an increase to the capital gains tax will affect you? Is it, as the finance minister suggests, a tax on the ultra-rich?
Only 0.13% of Canadians with an average annual income of $1.4 million will be affected by this change in any given year.
Or is it, as the opposition leader tells it, just crushing the little guy?
Mr. Speaker, if you are a small business owner, you have even $1 of investment gain, you pay this higher tax that the Prime Minister is promising.
Then Pierre Poilievre puts out a video saying everything is broken and the country is broke.
Businesses, jobs, doctors, and food production will leave Canada.
And Justin Trudeau's like, don't believe those guys.
They're all trying to spin it in 9 different ways.
So let's just try to calm down and figure this out. We'll start real easy with what is the capital gains tax, but then we'll sort through how it's going up, who that affects, and ultimately, which politician, if any, is telling the truth. So this section won't be very long because it's actually really simple. Capital gains are just profits that you make from selling certain things. Stocks, bonds, investment properties, those are kind of the main ones, but it could also be shares in a business, crypto, precious metals on the stock market. But let's say I buy $100 worth of Apple shares. The company does well, and I'm able to sell for $200, which, if you do the math, that's a profit or a capital gain of plus $100. You with me so far, right? Now, in Canada, 50% of capital gains are taxed, like regular income. So let's say I make normally 50 grand a year. I add 50% of this, which is $50, to my income, and that's taxed at my regular income tax rate. So if I live in Ontario, that means I get taxed around 20% for making this much money. So the government takes 20%. That's $10 of what was ultimately a $100 profit. That's how things already are. What the government is going to do, effective today, June 25th, is increase how much of my profits get taxed. So returning to this example, instead of getting taxed on just half of my capital gains, the government wants to increase this so-called inclusion rate to 2/3. So about 66% of my profits become taxable. And this is where I think a lot of misinformation has gone around, where people say that, oh, the government now wants to tax 66% of my profits. And that sounds like you're losing 66% of your money. But it's not that. It's making 66% of your money taxable, where 50% of it was already taxable. So now, $66 of my original $100 profit is taxable at my current rate of about 20%. That means $13 goes to the government. Before it was 10, now it's 13. But wait, we're not done, because the government, perhaps realizing taxes are unpopular, has also created a $250,000 individual exemption.
Starting June 25th, if someone makes up to $250,000 in capital gains, they're still going to pay taxes on only half of that.
So in any given year, as long as my capital gains are less than $250,000, I don't have to pay the new 66% inclusion rate. I only pay capital gains tax on the same 50% that I always have. Meaning, even under the new rules in this scenario, because the profit is less than $250,000, I would still pay the old amount. Okay.
We don't think it's fair that a teacher or electrician pays taxes on 100% of their income, while a multimillionaire pays taxes only on 50% of the passive income they make on capital gains.
So the government is telling the truth, right? That exemption is so big, $250,000, that surely only the ultra-wealthy, the top 0.1%, cashing out hundreds of thousands of dollars in investments each year, only they would pay more. And then the government takes all that money and spends it on all kinds of nice things that we all like, right? Well, that's not really true.
I can't see how such a small percentage of the population will be affected by the new rates. To me, it has to be larger.
Really, you should look at it. How many people in their lifetime will be affected by this capital gains increase? And it's going to be a much higher number. And what I estimate, it's going to be something like 1.25 million people.
Okay, let's explore that. What the government isn't exactly coming right out and announcing is that, yes, while in any given year, very few Canadians are claiming more than $250,000 in capital gains, that's not to say that many Canadians will not claim that much at some point in their lives.
So you buy a cottage, let's say in 1980, Vancouver, the Toronto area, for let's say, $80,000. But then today you end up selling the cottage for, $500,000. And so you have a capital gain of $420,000. But you only do that once.
That's Jack Mintz, by the way. He studied 10 years worth of StatsCan data from people who filed capital gains in Canada. What he found is that the majority of people only file once.
And in fact, that's what the data shows, is that 2/3 of people only have capital gains only once and or very infrequently during their lifetime.
So year over year, sure, you have, maybe tens of thousands of people filing these huge gains, which might make you think it's the top 1% of society, when in fact, a lot of it might just be a constantly revolving door of regular people cashing out their once-in-a-lifetime gains. Even a simple transfer of assets can count as a capital gain, even if no money changes hands.
And I said, why should I pay capital gain? I'm not selling it to them. I'm gifting it to them.
Farmers have lots of cash, but it's tied up in land, and the entire purpose behind farming is to pass it on to the next generation. So anything that makes that more complex, more difficult, and more expensive isn't good.
A lot of Canadians, I think, may have inherited those cottages. So maybe they weren't inherently wealthy to begin with.
These are the sorts of situations that Pierre Poilievre is staking his claim on, that Trudeau is taxing everybody to death.
And it's incredible. During a healthcare shortage, he wants to tax away our doctors. During a food price crisis, he wants to tax our farmers. He wants to tax our small business job creators.
So that was a lot. What is Poilievre talking about here? Well, small businesses. The idea there is that if an owner wants to sell their small business, like maybe they're retiring, they're winding things down, their nest egg just got a fair bit smaller. $1 million in after-tax profit under the old rules would shrink by about $100,000 under the new rules. If you care to see the math on that, we start with a capital gain, a profit of $1.36 million. And you'll see in a moment why I chose that number. Under the old regime, half of that was taxable, most likely at the highest tax bracket of 53%, assuming once again, that you're in Ontario. Take that percentage away from this, from half of your profit, and you're paying about $360,000 in taxes. This minus this is what you're left with, a cool $1 million even. But under the new regime, someone selling their small business for the same amount of profit pays tax on half of the first $250,000. That's the individual exemption. That works out to about $66,000 in tax at our current tax rate. And on the remaining $1.11 million, 66% is taxable. That's about $732,000 that we have to pay taxes on at our 53% tax rate. That means you're paying almost $390,000 in tax on this amount. You add these two numbers here, you end up with a grand total of tax, $456,000, which is almost $100,000 more than we used to pay for the exact same sale. Let's talk about doctors.
Anything that's making things harder for family physicians is really concerning to me, because we know that over 6 million Canadians already don't have access to a primary care provider.
Many doctors don't collect salaries in quite the same way you and I might. Many of them incorporate, meaning in a legal and a financial sense, they become a company. Why incorporate? Well, it's a way of getting around high personal income taxes. So in Ontario, for example, instead of paying progressively more and more income tax the more money I make, all the way up to the 53% tax bracket, an incorporated doctor could pay the small business tax rate, which is way lower. In Ontario, it adds up to about 12% total on the first $500,000 in taxable income. Now, a doctor can't stay a corporation forever. At some point, they need to draw down that money for personal use. But for all those years, the tax money that they saved, they were probably reinvesting through the company, buying stocks and bonds, which then grow in a compounded way, all the way to retirement. That's how many doctors plan for retirement. But under the new rules, once they sell those company assets, they'll get hit with this new, higher capital gains tax.
For example, my corporation, it's just me. There's no shareholders, there's nobody else making money. And so me as an individual saving for retirement, saving for sick leave or maternity leave, I'm going to be facing an increase in my taxes as I try to save for those things, because doctors don't have access to pension or sick days or maternity leave or parental leave.
Officially, the position of the Canadian Medical Association is this change to the capital gains tax will hurt healthcare in Canada, especially because incorporated professionals, which includes many doctors, they don't benefit from the exemption on the first $250,000 in capital gains that we individuals get. So when they retire and start selling assets from the corporation, they're paying the new 66% inclusion rate from dollar number one. Depending on which province they live in, that's effectively like having your tax rate go up 8 to 10%. This, Poilievre argues, makes being a doctor in Canada much less attractive. He reasons this tax change punishes all the wrong people.
Taxing away doctors, taxing away home builders, taxing away the entrepreneurs who make paychecks is economic wackoness.
So is Poilievre the one who's telling the truth? We'll try to get to the bottom of that in a moment.
Back to our reality check on the brand new rules on capital gains.
Will it destroy jobs?
It's designed to bring in billions, so who is really getting dinged? Andrew Chang, the host of CBC's About That, rolled up his sleeves and got you the answers. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey there. So we're digging into the capital gains tax increase, now in effect as of today, and trying to untangle the confusion about what's been very mixed messaging from the government and from the opposition. We've broken down the government's position.
Only 0.13% of Canadians with an average annual income of $1.4 million will be affected by this change, in any given year.
And we're looking at how that's not entirely correct, according to the analysts that we spoke to. Before the break, we heard from Pierre Poilievre, who claims that this tax is hitting all the wrong people.
Taxing away doctors, taxing away home builders, taxing away the entrepreneurs who make paychecks is economic wackoness.
So, is Poilievre the one who's telling the truth?
Will it destroy jobs? That's a more difficult, nuanced question. So this is one more incentive to have people not start up business, not come here and to leave. But you're not going to have, I don't think you're going to have a wholesale departure of entrepreneurs.
It's going to definitely hit some of the very wealthiest people, no question about that. But there's going to be a lot of middle-class people that are going to be affected.
What makes this such a messy question is that Canada's tax code is complicated. The math, in reality, isn't always as clean as how I presented it to you. For example, there's what's called a lifetime capital gains exemption for certain asset sales. So the first $1 million a person makes from selling a business or a farm, for example, that's not taxable at all. 0% tax. And the Liberal government is increasing that exemption to $1.25 million. And honestly, there are just so many exceptions and eligibility requirements and qualifiers on just about every single aspect of the tax code. Way too many for us to go through here. Like, we had to run our own calculations through several accountants to be sure of the math. So bottom line, if you're just an average person, the likeliest way you'll be directly affected by any of this is if you own an investment property. Somewhere, you don't live personally, but you might sell or transfer at some point. On that, you stand to lose tens of thousands of dollars on that eventual sale. If you're selling a business, you stand to lose much more than that, but only if you're already making a fair bit of money, well over $1 million from that eventual sale. Either way, more of your money goes to the government for, healthcare, for housing, for whatever their priorities may be. And what does that money add up to, Adrian? Well, from their estimates, nearly $20 billion over the next 5 years.
All right, Andrew, thanks for making sense of that. Coming up, a flight crew's thoughtful gesture creates an unforgettable memory for a young passenger. The ceremony in the clouds, next in our moment. So this beaming little guy is Xavier Rivas. He's 5, he's just finished kindergarten, and he is pretty proud about that. Now, that picture was taken in the cockpit during a flight that kept him from his ceremony, but the flight crew decided to step in and celebrate Xavier's accomplishment. Tonight, that moment is our moment.
It really did make this trip special.
It was so cool. Going on YouTube.
I was offered the role of maid of honor in my little cousin's wedding, but unfortunately it so happened that the graduation was going to be the same weekend as the wedding. Getting on the flight, he's so social. He was telling everyone, even he missed his graduation and how he was sad about it. Pamela was the flight attendant. She said, "Hey, do you mind if we do something special for him?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine."
We are giving him his graduation ceremony on this flight.
And then when he walked down, you could see it in his face that he was so happy and so excited. The flight attendants were like fixing his tassel and like cheering him on. He was just over the moon with excitement. It really touched my heart and healed my heart, and he had his special day as well.
Xavier, good call wearing the gown and cap on the flight. And also, here's for anything that makes air travel more fun, more pleasant, and more kind. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.